However, having said that, it does like the humidity. So the best thing that I've seen for this particular plant in the humidity is to go ahead and Hi, I am Kim from the Tye-Dyed plant team, and today we're going to talk about a plant that is almost a combination of two different plants. It's called the Raindrop Peperomia. One of the great things about the peperonia, the raindrop, is its brilliant colored leaves. It gets its name from the shape of the leaves, but like I said, it's just almost like a combination. It's got a succulent type leaf. It's a little bit thicker, but it is not as thick as a typical succulent like the jade plant. So not to be confused with the two of them, this is a thicker leaf, but not a really thick leaf, which allows you to work with it a little bit easier. Sometimes on that jade, as you work with the leaves, they'll snap off, but this one is just a little bit more flexible. Now, you may have seen some of our other peperomias, and I talk about them that they're known more for their leaves than for their flowers. One of the more typical peperomias does have the flower on it, which really doesn't flower in the traditional sense. It's a long spike. You'll not see that on the Raindrop Peperomia, but that's okay because, like I said, the beauty of it is in the leaves. And one of the things that you might want to do with these leaves from time to time, depending upon where you have it, inside or outside, especially in the wintertime if it's inside, is this gloss does really well if every once in a while you take a nice damp cloth and just go ahead and wipe over it. It's a really pretty plant. From a watering perspective, like I said, it is a semi-succulent, so we're going to let this one dry out a bit. Every 7 to 10 to 14 days, once it gets really dry, then you're good to go ahead and water it. However, having said that, it does like the humidity. So the best thing that I've seen for this particular plant in the humidity is to go ahead and put that pebble tray down, a tray filled with some pebbles, put water in it, and the natural evaporation is the best way to give the humidity to your Raindrop Peperomia. The second best way is through a humidifier, not so much with the misting, but between the pebble tray and the humidifier, you'll be able to get a proper amount of humidity. It's about 50 to 60% humidity is what it's liking. From a watering perspective, like I said, you're just going to keep it relatively dry. And from a soil perspective, because it is a semi-succulent, we like to put a lot of perlite in that soil, or as I've said before, because we do have the succulent soil here, rather than trying to take the time to make your own, this is really a good soil to use. So while you might not think about this as a soil for one of your regular plants, because this is a semi-succulent, this particular soil that we have here, the cactus succulent mix, works well. It already has the perlite in it, it's very well drained, and it'll do great for your raindrop. Light, from a light perspective, like many of our plants, indirect light, bright light, it just really likes to have that amount of light. If the leaves start to yellow a little bit, many times that's a sign of a water issue. Here with your raindrop, that's usually a sign with your light issue. So if you start to see your leaves getting a little bit yellowy, you might just want to increase the light a little bit. Interestingly, it doesn't do really well in shade, so try and keep it out of the shade, and it's not going to do well in that really bright sunlight, so you don't want to give it that direct sunlight. Try and keep it out of a south-facing window. This will do a little bit better in an east-facing window. From a propagation point of view, these are fun to propagate. They're a little bit of a challenge. From a propagation perspective, I would just look at this is a great node right in here. You can see you've got a little bit of new growth coming out here. So to snip right here, where you've got one nice leaf, another leaf coming out, that's a good place to go ahead and start your propagation. Many times you will see as you do that snip, there will be a little bit of liquid or a little bit of ooze coming from that particular cut. If that's the case, and it almost always is the case with your Raindrop Peperomia, we need to let it callus over. And what we mean by that is just let it go, just let it sit. Put it down on a tray, put it down on a table somewhere, and let it callus, let it dry out. Usually a day or two is about all you need. As soon as you can go ahead and touch and it's not going to get sticky on your fingers, you are good to go. Then go ahead with your soil, take that piece that we've just cut off, put it in the soil, give it a good amount of water the first time, and then start backing off on the watering, and your propagation will go really, really well. From a fertilization point of view, these are nice to fertilize in the spring, in the summer. In the winter time, where plants have a tendency to back off a little bit, don't worry about fertilizing. Just go ahead and do that in the springtime and also in the summertime. Native to South America, Colombia, Peru, that particular area, which is where it is a little bit more humid. So again, that's why we really want to work on that humidity to keep it nice and moist from the bottom. Don't worry about spraying with a mister. Finally, from a toxicity perspective, this is a non-toxic plant. We will occasionally use these in our vivariums. We'll use them sometimes in our habitats. They don't get a lot much taller than this. They'll get maybe 8 inches tall, maybe 8 inches round. You can see it's almost a roundish plant. It's a little bit more bushy, so it's not known for its droopiness or for its spillingness. It's just pretty much a stout plant and relatively easy to care for. The only thing you need to be careful about is when you're doing that propagation to watch for a little bit of that stickiness, that little bit of ooziness as that comes out. So this is our plant of the week. It is the Raindrop Peperomia, a little different from the standard Peperomia, related a little bit to the succulents because of that nice thick leaf, known for its leaves, not for its flowers. And just keep that nice gloss going and you'll be really, really happy with this relatively easy to grow plant. Plant of the week, the Raindrop Peperomia.